Style for Life. I'm Stephanie Rumble, fashion stylist, accountability coach, and your guide to feeling good in your body and your clothes. Based in Christchurch, New Zealand, I bring over 3 decades of experience in fashion, fitness, and wellness to help you feel strong, stylish, and self-assured. Together, we'll explore the emotional, physical, and practical sides of style, because true confidence starts from within. No matter your age or size, you deserve to feel confident and show up as the best version of you. I truly believe this. This is Style for Life. Hi everyone, and welcome back to the podcast again today as we head into our winter months here in Aotearoa, Christchurch. It's definitely getting cooler. And I've been doing a lot of shopping with clients, so seeing a lot of different people, doing a lot of looking in the shops, and there's just been a lot of shopping. And in this period of shopping, I've been thinking a little bit about some of the messages that clients give me around how they feel about spending money on clothes. So I thought today I would do a podcast on how to allow yourself to spend on your wardrobe and how to allocate a certain amount of money for this, and just some basics around planning and the finances of clothes, because a lot of the time people are just not really sure about how to do this, don't know how to go about it, don't know where to start, and I thought maybe I could debunk this for you. So yes, so that's what today's podcast is about, how to allocate money for clothes and how much money should you be spending on your wardrobe. And there's a whole lot of psychology around this, because obviously clothing is about psychology and how we feel about ourselves and all sorts of other things as well. So, and obviously our life circumstances dictate a bit about how much we spend as well. And people often find it difficult because wearing clothes is really visible, and it can make people feel really self-conscious about their choices. They can feel self-conscious about what they're choosing, why they're choosing it. And we are such victims of thinking of others' judgments of us as well. So we often think that we are being judged because of our clothes and because of our appearance, and it can put us off shopping as well, or put us off buying the things that we would really like to, or being self-expressed in a way that works for us. So I think it's really worth unpacking this a little bit today. I'm really keen to hear some comments, any suggestions, any experiences that you've had in this area, or how you do it. How do you allow yourself to have a certain amount? Do you save up for it? I know that I've had clients who I've worked with, and they've come to me and I've said they'd like to buy some clothes, they'd like to go shopping with me, and then they've not been sure how much to spend, and I've given them a bit of a ballpark, and they've gone away and saved up, and then we have shopped together. So there's all sorts of ways to do this, but there's all sorts of ways. But let's first of all look at a little bit about some of the reasons why people might not want to spend money on clothes, and then how to figure it out, right? So first of all, there's a whole list of things, and I'm going to go through each of them. So it could be something like it's really visible when you make a mistake and it's really obvious. There's sizing, fit, and frustrations. A cost per wear dilemma. Are you going to wear it enough? Utility versus self-expression. Is it practical, or is it expressing who I am, or do I just give up? And then have I got a bit of a frugality mindset? So let's talk about each of those 5 points first, and then we'll work out how we can overcome them. I think that's the first thing to do. So the first thing here is the visible mistake factor. So unlike a kitchen appliance or an unread book or some beauty product you haven't used, clothes are out in the open, right? So people say, I might not buy something because it could be wrong. And then this mistake, you can either end up feeling really insecure about who you are and about your decisions, or you can feel judged by other people. So I get it. I hear it all the time. It's a really common problem that my clients come to me with. So it's out in the open. So other people can see what you're wearing, and you're concerned that it's a visible mistake, right? So there's that whole thing there. People can see it. So that's a visible mistake factor, yeah. And again, that can be a reason for some people for just not shopping. And I've heard all of these reasons so many times over my 20 years of being a fashion stylist. I've heard all of them. The sizing and fit frustrations. Look, I know this can be really hard, and the sizing is really different across different brands. Shopping can be demoralizing when an item doesn't fit right. It reminds the shopper of any physical changes or things that they're not happy about, and it makes the experience really psychologically taxing rather than enjoyable. Now, let me just tell you first and foremost that we need to not worry about the size label inside the clothes we're buying. It's really honestly about what fits you and how it looks and feels. Everyone has different body shapes. We have different heights, we have different foot sizes, we have different limb lengths. We are varied. In our society here in New Zealand, we are very different. We have different colouring, we have different ages and stages. There's so much about us that's different, which means that we have to we might buy a size 14 in one shop, a size 10 in another, a size 16 in another, just to get the fit right. So I have clothes like this that vary across my wardrobe. The sizing is different depending on the brand. And I think this is something we need to really keep in mind. So it's really easy to be demoralized, and I'm really good at this. So I was in a shop this week with another client, and as she was changing, there was a lady next door who was very petite, very little, quite short. She's a little bit curvy, and I could hear her frustration, and I knew I could help her, but I was helping my client. So I wasn't going to help some random member of the public, but I could see, hear, and feel her frustration. And this is really common. You know, I'm too tall, trousers are always too short. I'm too short, trousers always need to be taken up. Trousers never fit me around the bottom. I don't suit skirts because I've got a tummy. My bust's too big for shirts. I mean, I don't wear dresses because I don't have a waist and I don't like the way I look in them. I feel like my legs look short in, I don't know, shorts. So I don't wear them. I don't like the condition of my legs, so I'm not going to wear this particular group of clothing. I'm not going to wear a sleeveless top because I don't like honestly, I have heard every single thing there is to hear. And some of them have been gobsmackingly surprising to me because I didn't even notice that about the client. Most of the time, I never notice anything that's at fault with my client. I'm just there to problem solve and help them dress and feel good. So sizing and fit frustrations can prevent people from shopping. I've heard it time and time again. The cost per wear dilemma. So is it worth it? Yes, a cheap garment might lose its shape within weeks. It could wear out really quickly, whereas a more expensive item could last for years, making the cheap option more expensive in the long run. So how do you weigh that up? So look, it's honestly about how we shop. So we need to navigate the invest now, save later. And this math often triggers purchase paralysis because we're like, oh, I can't afford it now, so I'll buy nothing. Yeah? And then we don't get the joy. We wear the same old thing. So evaluating value is really tricky. And that's something I really help you with as well. So where there's a value garment or something that's a bit more expensive or aspirational, we might try that on, spend some time thinking about it. And I had this experience in the weekend. I shot with a really gorgeous lady, and she hadn't done a lot of shopping for herself for many years. In fact, she made me think about doing this podcast, and I thought about it last week too. And we started in a store that was a little bit less expensive, and we did a couple of cheap and cheerful stores just at the start to get her wardrobe established. And then I took her to some of the more premium brands, which had different quality of clothing. And she just said to me, oh my goodness, I can feel the difference in quality. Now, she is someone who hadn't really bought herself very many clothes other than from maybe Kmart or the warehouse for many years, and had saved up for this trip with me. And she was immediately aware of the fact that if she could stretch herself to purchase some of the more premium brands, better quality garments, not to say you can't buy good quality at a more affordable price, just saying, but a lot of the time there is a parallel between quality and price. I hate saying that because it's not always the case, but there is. So we tried on some more aspirational garments, which she didn't purchase on Saturday, but she will potentially purchase in the future because she could see the beautiful quality and the value in that. So yes, that whole paralysis around cost per wear can make people very stopping shopping. Utility versus self-expression. Yeah, this is really interesting. So while clothes serve basic utility, we dress so we're warm and we're not naked, they are very closely tied to identity. So, yeah, and so people struggle to justify premium prices when they think the functional value of a garment doesn't match the emotional markup. Do you get that? So they think, oh, it's not functional enough, it's expensive, so I can't pay that price. So it's about thinking more broadly about your wardrobe. Can I wear this in lots of places? Like this shirt, for example, is an Alame shirt. Alame's a premium brand out of Australia. I saw this is a shirt. I'm wearing a white shirt with a kind of paisley embellished sequins on it. It sounds quite out there. If you're listening, watch on YouTube or have a look on Instagram and you'll see it. And I loved it, but the price point at full price wasn't for me. So I waited and it came down in the sale and I purchased it and I love it. And I've had it for a couple of years now. It's classic, but also quirky, reflects who I am. I feel much better in this shirt than I do in a plain white shirt. Now, that's not to say everyone will feel the same. So I think for me, it was worth it. Now, sometimes I will purchase a really expensive garment at full price. If I think it's something that might sell out, I'll just do it because I know that I'm going to wear it. An example of this actually is the Matilda cardigan from Ruby. Ruby's a New Zealand brand, and I've got two now, and I actually just love them. I've got a zip-up cream one and a red button-up, and I didn't buy the cream last year because of the price point, and I decided that I'd wait till this year, and I bought a more cheap option. I was overseas, and it was like, I'm buying this because I'm not going to buy Matilda because I have already bought one this year, so this was last year, and then this year I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it. And I am so glad because I love it and I've worn it and it just feels amazing. So sometimes, it's about thinking about it. What's the utility? Are you going to wear it versus self-expression? So for me, they're very closely linked, and I encourage my clients to link them as well. So you are self-expressed and your clothes feel practical. Then there's the frugality mindset. So sometimes we're raised with a scarcity or highly frugal mindset, and spending on non-essential items, especially items that will eventually wear out, generates significant buyer's guilt. Or we think that we're going to run out of money, so we don't buy anything new, and then we end up being lost in the process of life, and we end up with clothes that don't fit suit, make us feel good. So yeah, that frugality mindset can be really hard to break, and I really appreciate that this is the case for many people or some people. So yeah, and I think, is clothing non-essential? I would say clothing's essential because we have to stay warm and we have to stay dry and we have to stay modest. So let's make that clothing that we're staying warm, dry, and modest in actually self-expressing us, or something that we feel expressed in. So those are the 5 sticking points, I think, that can stop people buying clothes. The visible mistake factor, like people can see it, oh my goodness, you've made a mistake, or you feel they're going to see it. Sizing and fit frustrations, the cost per wear dilemma, is it going to be, am I going to wear it enough? Utility versus self-expression, and then the frugality mindset. So how do we overcome this? Have you ever wondered how you can be a fashion stylist with access to premium digital styling products? Do you want to be trained by the best in the industry and access these products that reflect fashion styling in 2025? If you do, then Image Innovators is absolutely the choice for you. This is because they have a network of over 1,000 trained fashion stylists worldwide, and when you work with them, you're getting the best of the best. They have evidence-based professional training offered by highly skilled facilitators that help you reach your absolute potential. This is a great alignment with Style for Life, as I in my business have used and endorsed their products for over 10 years with so many happy clients. And I'm really excited to say I'm also offering training to fashion stylists in conjunction with Image Innovators. So if you're ready to start your fashion styling training journey, then use the code BRIGHTRED25 for 10% off all products. So there's a few strategies. And the first one I'm going to talk about is the 70-30 wardrobe rule. Now, I haven't talked about this before because I've just read about it and started thinking about it myself. And what you want to have is 70% of your wardrobe needs to be things that you know that you're going to wear a lot of the time, right? And they are like things that will continue to be worn especially in that season. It might be sweaters, it might be jeans, it might be shirts. Now, it doesn't have to be a white shirt, blue jeans, black jacket, like unless that's your vibe, right? So for me, I don't do that very much. It's just not who I am. I feel better in things that have a bit more quirk and colour because I have a more creative, dramatic clothing personality type. So 70% of the pieces are things that will work all the time for you. These are things that you will wear. Now, interestingly, I have a skirt which I really like. I bought from Camilla probably 2 years ago, and it's too long. And I trip over it when I wear it, and it puts me off wearing it. So just this morning, I talked to my great husband, David, and I took him to him and I said, can you please just cut this much off the bottom of the skirt and I'll hem it on the sewing machine later. Because I know then that I'll actually wear the skirt. So that makes it, goes from the 30% that's not being worn because of whatever reason, too long, it's, I thought it'd be a special occasion, to actually moving it into that part of the wardrobe where I'm going to wear it more of the time. So you want things that 70% of the wardrobe works all the time. So it depends a bit on your job, it depends a bit on your lifestyle and how you feel about wearing clothes to all sorts of places. So I definitely encourage my clients to do that. Then 30% of the pieces are things that might express extreme creativity. They might be for a special occasion. They might be something that you pull out when you know you've got something that's happening that's a bit more premium. For example, I have a Sass & Bide combo set. Sass & Bide's not operating anymore, which is very sad for me. They're an Australian brand I really enjoyed. And it's gold, it's quite shiny, it's a little bit cropped, it has a long skirt, it has a long sleeve top with big sleeves. So it's, the pieces are great, but they are for an occasion. It's an occasion piece because the fabric's quite out there. So that's a special occasion piece. I do have some formal dresses as well, which I have had for lots of years. I tend to buy a classic style in a colour that works for me. I don't own any black formal dresses. I don't even own a black dress, actually. The darkest dress I have is a chocolate brown one, which actually still has patterns on it. So anyway, that's just me. So special occasion clothes. I like clothes that I can wear 70% of the time. But I do have a small portion of my wardrobe. For me, it's probably 80-20 because I like to get those clothes out and being worn. So yeah, thinking about that as well. So that means that you're not thinking that you can't wear most of your clothes. So that's the first place to start, is that 70-30 or 80-20 rule. 80% of the clothes you wear most of the time and 20% of a special occasion or for expressing creativity. Now, let's have a talk about how much money you should spend on your clothes. Here we go. So one of the things I learned when I trained to be a fashion stylist, which was 20 years ago, was that what we need to recommend, and this is really hard for some people, that you allocate around 5% of your after-tax income to clothing. Now we say 5 to 10% on your personal appearance because some people get their hair done regularly and that's a little bit more costly. Some people have facials, some people have their legs waxed, their nails done. This is mainly women. There's some men obviously as well. So it's just allocating that 5%. Now I know that can be really, really hard for some people. And I remember talking to a client earlier this year who hadn't been spending money on her wardrobe at all. And we went shopping and she said, oh, look, I've got a lot of money to spend if I'm going to pop that figure in place because it's been 4 or 5 or 10 years of not spending that. So, obviously you have to save for it and plan for it as well. So I like to think that that's the way to spend. And also, or the other way, there's a couple of other ways to do it, to set a healthy fixed budget. So it depends on your lifestyle, your career. You might put a certain amount of money aside into an account every week and save up for shopping twice a year. That's what my clients do, a lot of them. So we have twice yearly shopping trips and we go out and we have a look at their wardrobes, what we've liked, what we've not liked from last time, then how we put it all together. So that's a little bit of planning involved. There's a little bit of planning involved around the finances. So some people like to put $50 a week or $150 or less depending on your budget, so that when it comes to shopping time, it doesn't feel so onerous. And obviously, if you're a bit more affluent or you don't have to worry about budgeting, it's just a good ballpark to think, okay, I earn X amount of money. So if I think about it, so for example, if you think about someone like who might earn maybe an income of $100,000 a year. And then in New Zealand, if you take 30% tax off, that's 70,000. And then if you think about 10% of that, it'll be 7,000. So if we halve that, that's $3,500 a year on clothes. Now, 5 to 10%, I'd probably be closer to the higher end with my job. But some people, 5% is going to feel like a lot, $3,500. Now, you might do that, split that, and do $1,700 in the summer, or you might do $2,000 in the summer and $2,000 in the winter and $1,500 in the summer, because you find that in the summer months your clothes are a bit cheaper and you need less, they're lighter weight. The winter months the clothing is a bit more expensive. So that's just a wee bit of an understanding as to how to allocate funds for your clothes as well. So again, just keeping that in mind. And again, some of my clients save up and they have a bit more money to spend. So if someone asks me, how much money should I spend on my wardrobe? Say, for example, you have never been shopping for yourself. You haven't done it for many years. You buy the odd thing in an emergency situation, which you really don't like very much. It doesn't resonate very well with you. You think, oh, I don't really like this, but you buy it because you have to. And then you don't really wear it very much. So that you might be buying the odd thing. So you're not spending very much money, right? So for that person, it's going to be useful to put some money aside. And the starting point for a wardrobe is usually around, I would say, a minimum of $1,000. Some people I've shopped with for less. I had a lovely client a few months ago in Auckland, and she had $750 to spend, and we did great. We went to Sylvia Park in Auckland and we spent $750. In fact, I think we just got to budget. We might have just been $740 or something. She'll know who she is. She'll be listening. You know who you are. And so, yeah, we did really well. And she got some new clothes. She looked really good in them. She had 2 little children, so her life had changed. And so, yeah, that was what she had. And that was perfect. So, but I usually say to people $1,000 minimum. If you can stretch in the winter to $2,000, you're going to do better. Because if you're needing to buy boots that last and your shoes that last, and I say that they last more than one season, you are probably going to need to spend $250 to $300 on a pair of shoes. If you want to buy a winter coat, they come at all price points. And it just is going to depend on the kind of quality you're looking for, like I said. And you can still look fabulous without spending a load of money. It's just going to be about the quality of the garment and how long it lasts, like I keep saying. So, yeah, and then some of my clients have said, I don't have a budget today, I'm just happy to fill my wardrobe. So, yeah, wherever you need to go is fine for me. If I'm shopping with you, for your planning, I would suggest nominating a figure, realistically thinking about your income. If you're on the more frugal side, 5% is fine. Making that calculation and thinking about what you annually will be spending. Okay, so again, 4 to 6% of your net income on your wardrobe updates, or 50 to 150 per month, depending on, or week, depending on what you've got. The other thing you can do, and I quite like this, is the rule of 5, probably how I work. Restrict your seasonal purchases to just 5 clothing items to curate a capsule wardrobe. So if I pulled out the items I have only purchased for this winter so far, it's actually 3 sets, SETS, which tends to be, was a pair of jeans as well. I bought a few things actually. I did a wee Zara haul in, I think the end of February, beginning of March, a little Zara haul. So got some jeans and a couple of tops and a blazer. So that was about $300. And then I bought a matching 2-piece set from Q, which was a little bit more money, and then one from LMA, which is definitely a bit more money, and then the Matilda Cardi. So I've been relatively conservative in my purchases this winter. I may end up buying a winter coat. It will have to be something I really love and a colour that works well for me, but I do have a lot of clothes. I am currently knitting myself a cardigan too, because I wanted a chocolate brown one and couldn't find one I liked. In saying that, I have seen a nice blue one in Sylvester that I may also purchase. So I tend to be quite intentional about my purchases. When I'm traveling, and I am going to be traveling again at the end of June, I tend to shop a little bit more then. So just because I like to see what's in Australia or other countries, and I tend to be very considered. I've seen a couple of very lovely things in Valentine's, which I really like, but just at the moment, they're out of my price range and just wanting to juggle the finances. So rule of five clothing items per season. I've definitely done that already this season, probably with what I've described to you. So may or may not add 1 or 2 pieces to that. So that gives you a nice wee capsule, and I could pull out all of the pieces I've purchased this winter. Actually, maybe next week's podcast is about how to create a winter capsule. I keep bringing them up in advance, right? Anyway, so that's what I did to make sure that I have enough pieces for winter. So 5 pieces per season is a really, really good way to do it. Okay, so how do we do this? We make sure that we also thinking about local savings. Are there places we can go where clothing's a little bit cheaper? Can we wait for a sale? There's lots and lots of avenues. Can we thrift? I take all of my pieces I don't any longer need to Recycle Boutique, and then I build up a credit there and use the money sometimes to purchase new items. Sometimes my daughters get it ahead of me and use my credit and purchase it on my behalf, or not my behalf, they purchase it for themselves. They go, oh, look at this lovely thing I've bought from Recycle Boutique. I'm like, oh, great, that's nice. Using my credit. Anyway, that's actually fine with me. They sometimes choose me something too, which I really appreciate. So think about visiting secondhand charity stores, Save Mart, Salvation Army stores. There's lots of great places, and the consignment stores I've been talking about. My son Zach, he just showed up this week. It's great to see him. He's here back in Christchurch for a couple of days. He showed up with a set, S-E-T-S again, like make sure I say set, a set that he's bought from a consignment store in Auckland, a male consignment store. I do not know the name, sorry. It's a Subi set. It still had the label on it, matching shorts and jacket. He's a chip off the old block. I need to take a photo with us both in our denim outfits. Anyway, something like that. Use a secondhand app, platforms like Trade Me, Depop, to buy or sell garments. I have some clients who do so well on selling their clothes online. I'm terrible at selling them online. Personally, I prefer Recycle Boutique, just me. There's other really great places, Labels of Late here in Christchurch. There's many other great places, Lasting Labels, lots of them. Invest in basics, like I said. So like I said to you, some really good basics that keep your wardrobe going, like really good quality jeans that you feel good in, a couple of different colorways. My chocolate brown ones are doing me well this season. Also just well-fitting jeans in a brand that suit you. Save on trends. So just remember that 30% of your budget on fast fashion or trendy pieces that won't see the multi-season rotation. I really do that. I will always look for my clients and myself for something that I think that they can wear for at least 5 years. That would be my unless it's somebody who's in the midst of a physical change, or has, like, they had a baby, or they're pregnant, or maybe their body shape's changed and they're working on that, then we keep it really strict and quite constrained. Anyway, that's just some ideas. So let's just go back through the ideas about how to allocate money for yourself, how to spend for yourself. So first of all, we say what we need to do is we need to allocate around 5% of our wardrobe, 5% of our income, net income after tax, to our clothing. Yeah. 5 to 10% on our personal appearance, so you could stretch the clothing a bit more if you needed to. Also thinking about the 70-30 rule, 70% of the clothes are things that you can wear lots of places and lots of ways, and 30% of those are more special pieces. I prefer the 80-20, so for me it'll be 80% that you can wear everywhere and 20% that are those special occasion pieces. So that's the first thing to think about. And then obviously, if you're going to think about saving, are you going to spend a fixed amount of money per week or month, or are you going to save a fixed amount per week or month, or are you going to save and you're having one lump sum you use? Restricted to 5 purchases per season, 5 pieces of clothing. That will get you a good starting wardrobe with 10 items a year. And then look at how you can save. Can you thrift? Can you use Save Mart? Can you go online? Can you actually get your clothing that you don't any longer wear sold so that you can use it? And then think about investing in the basics like we've said, and then just spending a little bit of money on those trends if that's what you like. So there we go. I have talked again about how to spend some money on clothes if it's not something that you're used to, how to plan your budgeting, how to plan for your wardrobing, how much to buy, how much to allocate, and realistically what is a good amount to spend here in New Zealand. Obviously, if you're listening from another part of the world, thank you so much. Actually, thank you, all of you, for listening to this podcast. It still blows my mind that we're nearly 18,000 downloads and still climbing every single week, despite me being erratic about posting on Instagram and promoting this. So I really appreciate all of you. I really appreciate you watching on YouTube. I'd love some suggestions about what you would like me to talk about. And I just want to say thank you again. Good luck with your winter shopping. If you want some help, you know where I am, brightred.co.nz. Do reach out. I'd love to help you. There's all the information about pricing, packages, etc. is on my website. So whatever works for you, I'd love to help you. So kia kaha, everybody. Keep warm, keep dry. The weather's getting colder, and go forth, spend some money on yourself, and enjoy being fully self-expressed through your clothes. Thank you for listening to the Style for Life podcast. Don't forget, you deserve to feel fabulous at every age, every stage, and at every size. If you're loving the show, hit subscribe and leave a review. It helps more amazing people like you find their way back to life through style. Thanks again. Until next time.